Okay, she's all yours.
Okay, so we are having a special stewardship committee meeting. Today is April 29th, and in the room we have Molly Taylor and Mark Pope and Mike Kelso from the stewardship committee. We have Cristin Hoffine from the planning and zoning, and we have Melody McCandless from the commission. Grand County Commission, and then myself from Sam Flats, and then via Zoom we have Matt Olding from Sam Flats. And so the topic of the meeting today is to vote on a letter to the Grand County Commission concerning rezoning, a rezoning application for Ravens Rim property as it applies to Sam Flats. And so we can discuss where we go from here. So today we're just going to be, do we want to send a letter? Do we like the draft, the language in the draft letter? And then Cristin Hoffine is going to fill us in on details and help answer questions that she can answer. Matt, I prepared a draft letter. It's in the second email I sent you today. Did you see that?
Yeah, is this it?
Yes. So, yeah, can you make it pretty big? Or the screen's kind of small. Is there something I'm supposed to do on my end?
Not like,
Yeah.
turn picture by the side,
Up to the right, yeah.
Or
next.
no. Well, maybe now it'll pop out. No.
All right, well, it's readable if
Yeah,
we
it is.
scroll.
Just try double clicking right there, just on the.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Well, this was from the planning zoning office, but you weren't there then. Okay. So, well, let me just say before we look at the letter, so the letter's here, draft letter. Then I also have on another page, I have the planning and zoning staff report, some sections from that I highlighted. Then I have the STEAM letter with some questions. And then I have like a little summation of the citizen comments and the planning commission's comments during their meeting. So, lots of stuff. So yeah, well, I can just read the letter, Matt. If you want to go to the top, I'll just read it.
Do you want me to give some background first?
Oh yeah, if you want to get background, that'd be great.
Let me
That'd
just
be
give
great.
you guys like an overview of what it is really quick.
Perfect.
So this is an application, what they're going to be contemplating is an application for a general rezone from range and grazing to resort commercial for 234.71 acres. Access is only available via Helper Bench. This is surrounded by BLM property and City of Moab property. Planning staff is recommending a denial on this rezone application because to me and staff we have threshold issues we have to reach before we are able to even contemplate rezoning. One of those would be access, the other one would be annexation. And both of those have issues for me. So annexation, if it's going to have city services, if it's going to be served by any city function, then the city should have a seat at the table to decide what it is and is not zoned. Without their voice, I shouldn't really go further. I did on this one because the applicant asked and they didn't want to be rezoned and they wouldn't reach out to the annexed, I'm sorry, they didn't want to be annexed. And so we didn't have, we can't approach the city. That has to be done by the applicant and the property owner.
I have one question. When you started, you said so it's a 200-some acre parcel. Access is Hell's Revenge. So does that mean this does not include the property that is the Ravens Rim entrance off of the north corridor?
Okay, so that isn't access to the parcel.
So that is not access to the parcel.
No,
So it's not in the parcel.
Yeah, so
then why is this even a problem?
there's legal access and then
Right.
there's
But I mean,
maintained access.
if the planning commission already said no, and then Sand Flats says no, why is there even?
Well, the commission has to make the
Right.
If
real
someone
decision.
puts forward an application, we have to move forward with process.
Yeah.
They're, they have, that right. to
Right,
ask.
no, I'm just saying for us, what is the problem?
So they're not asking for access, and they're not further access from Ravens Rim, from the city going up the way they go up to.
They said they did not want the annexation.
They don't want annexation, but the city, any road that would be, any road that would be created to access the parcel, would be a city road. And it wouldn't be something that the county would have a voice in. So for the county's purposes, we have to have legal access through the county on a county road. And that's what it's, and legal access for a parcel is, it's how it's recorded, how access is recorded to the parcel, and it is via Hell's Revenge.
I have a couple questions that
Sure.
came out of the planning committee meeting. Are there any activities currently taking place on this lot that are not consistent with range and grazing?
No, so range and grade, the activities, even the activities that they are their application says anything that the commercial zone would allow. And so that's what we have to contemplate when we consider the use
But
that's going
current-
to be applied to this
But
parcel.
currently.
Currently, yeah, they would have they have a CUP, a conditional use permit that allows what is happening on the property via range and grazing.
Okay, but it's consistent with the
Yeah.
current.
It's just a CUP, and that runs with the land forever.
And then my understanding from what I heard was that the applicant did not identify what they wanted to do.
No, they didn't, so we have to imagine the most intense use of the
Right.
land.
And then also, I think they said that the county asked them to submit this request. Is that correct?
No, I guess, I don't know, no, the county didn't ask them to. The county, when they came to the county for this rezone, we processed it and told them it needed to be annexed.
So-
According to them, they said that they approached the county about a CUP. And in that process, prior staff told them, well, the county doesn't particularly like CUPs. We want, if you want a use on the land, it should be allowed by right via the zone.
I see.
And so they came forward with a rezone application. We did have a discussion with the city about whether they would be interested in annexation. And the city seemed to say that they would be okay with an annexation. We went back to the applicant and the applicant wanted to proceed with the rezone. They didn't want to.
I'm trying to understand the drivers for this. And so the applicant said something in one of his phone call about the land being overwhelmed by trespassing from people using the trail. I was wondering, Andrea, has the family approached Sand Flats about that being an issue?
No, never. I mean, we've had the easement since 2012. We've had the easement. Oh, did you have something?
Well, I
Sam?
just, on this issue, I guess it was Big Saturday, Greene County SAR had an incident there where they were doing preventative search and rescue.
This Saturday, past Saturday.
Two
Yeah,
Saturdays
that's what I
ago.
mean, this year.
And so I was trying to dig back into my mind, and I remembered the whole incident pre-pandemic when they I don't know who they was, gated off and fenced it, and that was the whole county was like, wait a minute, we have an easement.
But that wasn't there. That wasn't,
Okay.
I mean, it was over by Tippover, kind of where their property, where they come
Okay.
up from the city.
Yeah.
And they were blocking off the road that goes down, I guess, or something. And yeah, the sheriff, 2 years, the sheriff opened it back up.
Okay.
Because this is a county D class road.
Right.
And when I asked who, when we were trying to figure out who closed it off and we called Bynum, he's like, no, we didn't close it off. It must have been the Steen family. And we're like,
Oh,
they're
okay.
not even here?
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But anyway, the sheriff went out and opened it back up 2 years in a row. That's what I remember.
Well, if that's a problem, we should pursue that separately. I mean, it's tangentially related to
Yeah, it was
this
more the
issue.
easement piece of it and the continued regular access and whatnot.
Well, Cristin can talk about, because that was one of my first fears was like, is there a chance of us losing our easement?
No.
for Hell's Revenge.
Easements are held in perpetuity. We've got it. It's a perfected easement.
Is that true for bicycle trails?
Yeah, is it true for Slick Rock as well? That was
Yeah,
another thing
I
I
think
did
I
ask
sent that
you.
one to you.
Yeah, and Matt, you have both of those.
Yeah, we have, and we
The
have.
only way that you can put them is if you give them back.
Yeah, we
Like,
have
right,
prescriptive use on both of these. There's no, I mean, years and years and years of
Decades.
people not asking permission to use this. Like that is a non-issue and it shouldn't even be, yeah, don't worry about access. That's not a thing that will ever be,
I don't want to conflate the two. What I'm hearing though is we might need to address a problem with people who are using Slick Rock and Hell's Revenge who are trespassing on the property, but I think that needs to be addressed separately from.
Yeah, it really doesn't have.
right, and that, I mean, and that would be addressed through, them exerting private property rights. I mean, you guys could help, like,
We can
I'm
reach
saying,
out.
yeah.
We can reach out.
But, that would be them sort of.
And you have to define it, because they might just talk about hiking traffic coming off of Main Street using their road.
They were
which
talking
isn't-
about,
Isn't even.
he was talking about off of Hell's Revenge
Okay.
and the trails, the
Okay.
people are wandering off onto their property.
Yeah,
And, which they would be because they don't know it's any different. And
Yeah.
so he did state in the video and planning zoning that that people are in that was part of the agreement is that between the BLM and the county that they would keep people off their land. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but that he stated that. So that's what you're talking about as well. And just so I mean,
Well,
that's what he wants to think about in the future is how do we keep people off?
well, just for, yeah,
They would need to put up basically a fence. I mean, if I live on the mountain and I want to keep the cows out, I have to put up a fence to keep the cows out.
Yeah.
It's-
It's a fence
Yeah.
out state.
So you got to keep the tourists out too.
I mean, I was looking at the location of this land, and so Hell's Revenge crosses through it twice.
Yeah.
There's no signage up there.
Matt, if you go to
property.
the easement for Hell's Revenge,
Right.
which I sent you in the first email today, you can see it. Well, you can keep that there, that's
So
fine, yeah, that's good,
That's the hot
that's
tub
good.
region up
Yep,
in that
that's the hot
corner.
tub region.
And then as you mentioned, after Tip River Challenge, it goes through another section. Actually, there's another lot adjacent to it on the south side that is not this parcel, it's a separate parcel that the trail also goes through. The Slick Rock Trail uses a substantial portion.
Yeah, the Hell's Revenge only uses two little parts.
So again, my thinking was, what is the driver for this request? And what I heard in the planning meeting was the concern about people leaving the trail, trespassing on the land. And I thought, well, the Sand Flats has responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, we keep the
But-
trail marked.
We mark the trail.
Yeah.
But I still haven't heard a good driver for why this request is taking place.
Ultimately, I think the driver is the new map that we have that calls it resort commercial, and so they want to take advantage of that, right? I mean, if you own land and you're at ranged and grazing, which is low cost or value land, and you have the opportunity to upzone it to resort commercial, because our land use code map says that. I mean, if you were a property owner, what would you do?
Does the
That's kind of-
land use map say that? I didn't
It's a
get that
future
from
land
the.
use map.
for the North
Oh.
Corridor.
Future land use map for Spanish Valley. The North Corridor and the North Gateway plan is separate. Why that land was called out on that map, I'm not sure. I don't know if it, and also range and grazing, and this resort, whatever it was called, was the new sort of,
Resort
yeah,
commercial.
resort commercial, whatever it's called. It's not called resort commercial in the new one, but whatever it's called, whatever they're calling it. It calls out a number of things that would be applicable to this sort of area. But the closest thing that they're calling it, that our current land use calls it, is resort commercial. But it doesn't contemplate all the uses that the
Right.
future land use plan, this is a future land use, not what is currently in place. We have to make our recommendations based off what is currently in the land use
So
code.
it's not an error necessarily in the Spanish Valley future land use
No,
map?
what it is
boy.
it's what is guiding the land use map going forward, but it also is creating areas and creating zones that don't currently exist in code. And those restrictions will be very different from what is in code now. So with this map is guiding what the code will look like. And so people applying for a zone change based off a land use code that doesn't exist yet is sort of creating
Is
It's
that
not
what they're
visual.
doing? Is that what they're
How can
doing?
that happen?
It was
Right, like,
it was two things
to
that,
grant
two different planning staff, like the way planning staff was imagining the land use code update happening, and then just people leaving. I mean, we've had a hard time keeping planning staff aboard, so they would start a process and then it wouldn't finish.
So
So
what,
the prior planning staff had wanted the land use code updated before the future land use map was adopted. And then the new planning director swapped those. And then this planning, or this land use code hasn't been adopted yet.
what are you showing, Melody? Are you showing something
This
that
is
will help
the map.
clarify?
It's just a map that.
I'm totally confused now.
It's just a map.
Yeah, and I mean, unless we're getting real in the weeds in
But-
planning, and I don't think this
But
this
what-
really
The planning
fits
does
to.
matter, and this is a
Yeah,
classic example.
What are they, okay, what is Ashley Steen, what are they applying for? Something that exists now or something that?
Something that exists now, based off this map.
Based off this map. So
Yeah.
see that brown little corner right there?
Yeah,
So they adopted this map for future land use code.
And it was
in
supposed to be
December.
Spanish Valley.
oh, it says for Spanish Valley.
Yeah, but
And
it's
this
not
is
that.
confusing.
associated with it, but it's not, it wasn't an area that was considered in any of our meetings.
Yeah, but if you think about this
The
land,
North Gateway
it's
plans.
interesting, like I said, it has no city access. It has a very rather steep bluff that can't be developed for anything. And then you immediately transition into the Sand Flats Recreation Area, which was another question I had about what we call the Sand Flats Recreation Area. Does that include private property, or does it end at the private property even though the trails continue into it?
But we have easements
Easements.
going through there.
But as far as development, future development, the only thing you could do is put a restaurant beside the Hell's Range Trail.
You could do whatever the
Which-
code allows you to do.
Yeah.
And if the code
You
allows
could
you
put
to
a
put
road
a
up there.
1,000-unit hotel, then we have to consider that.
Right.
So from a planning standpoint, we have to consider the most intense use of the land. And a commercial, I believe this is 15 units an acre, 18 units an acre.
So planning commission already has a opinion of a negative. You drafted a letter, we can just vote to approve the letter. It's very simple, it's all just going up against the commission. We don't have to analyze it or be the decision maker.
Well, but I wanna
No.
understand this
Yeah.
though, so that map makes it look like, I mean, what's the reality?
So.
If the commissioners say, yes, you, and do not, and don't go with the planning commission, and the
Uh-huh.
Grand County Commission says, yes, we're going to let them go to this commercial zoning, is
Well-
that fit the map? Can they
Yeah,
do that?
they can do that, and what would happen, I mean, okay, rezones are legislative decisions, and that means that, as long as it's not arbitrary and capricious, anything will be upheld in court. So, as long as they make findings of why, and there are legitimate reasons why this would be, and the staff report even shows that there are reasons why.
Matt, you
Why
want to
you
pull up
put-
that staff report?
And I'll just, I can actually just.
Well, he's got it, I
Anyway,
gave it
it's
to him.
some property
So
value, it's
there are
access to an
reasons why
area.
it would, that do fit why they could contemplate, approval on this.
That's not it.
And so, yes, that could be approved. It is considered constrained lands, so density would
I think it says
automatically
staff.
be,
That's the
limited
resolution.
by 50%.
SFRA Ravens Room.
Yeah, staff report is
There it
5
is,
star.
there it is.
At most, they'd get a really nice road up there.
Well, and
Only the
it would
It
sand-
also.
could be like another
because it's-
Lions back
because
on that end of
Because
Sand
it's
Flats is what it
access
could be.
via Hell's Revenge, the easement would be Hell's Revenge.
Unless it's annexed.
So, yes, so Hell's Revenge would be the road that they would be improving to
Right.
reach their property.
Right.
So if they build a hotel, that means they have to improve Hell's Revenge to meet commercial standards. And if the commission approves this, they also approved Hell's Revenge being improved.
Really?
Yep,
Which would ruin the,
It would dramatically change the character
uh,
and
Sand
the
Flats.
quality of the experience that's currently happening.
So yeah, I mean, so those are the
Wow.
unintended sort of consequences of rezone.
And all those businesses that depend on their livelihood to do the Hell's Revenge Trail and the $17 million that is brought in by all of Sand Flats Recreation to the community every year would be definitely impacted by all of those businesses not having Hell's Revenge to take customers on.
Well, it is a section of Hell's Revenge that very few.
No, but if they have to improve the entire Hell's Revenge for access,
They would just improve the back side.
what
Short distance
side?
between 2
The
points.
part that no one uses.
Well, it-
Oh, the exit?
Yeah.
Well, it actually touches two corners.
Yeah.
So you did improve the exit to get to that corner, but then
Right.
probably have to improve the other side to get to the hot tubs.
But they don't need to get to that.
That's in their property, yes.
Yeah, but they don't need to do.
They could.
To build the resort.
They
could.
just need the road
Yeah.
to enter at the exit.
But in reality, they probably tie it into the existing road that exists up from Ravens Rim.
Yeah, that would be the easiest way to do
Yeah,
it,
and they wanted to improve that road forever.
but they would have to get, the city would have to
approval for that
annex
one,
for
right?
that,
They have
right?
to get a C, yeah, well, and that would be, that's why, one of the reasons we're recommending annexation. Or not recommending, we're saying that we can't move forward with this until the city says that they don't want to annex. And if the city says they don't want to annex, then we can move forward.
How binding is that? If the city says, no, we're not interested in annexing, can they change their mind next year?
No, well, they could initiate an annexation on this, because it touches, like, half of the property is city.
Yeah.
Right, but if the city were to say, we are not interested in annexing this,
The city wants.
Then they could initiate an annex in 2 months, in 6 months, all we need is a letter that says.
If the application was just the parcel that was closer to the city,
Mhm.
the city would probably annex it. I mean,
well,
or the city would approve it.
The
But
city would
But for
approve it.
some reason, the Steens included the huge 200 acres. But if they had just gone for a little rezone.
well, that is a separate issue. My understanding is that they would have the option of subdividing the property and annexing or rezoning a portion that's down near the Ravens Rim.
Yeah, that is it's not something I wasn't involved in those early conversations. I stepped in at the very end of this process. I reached out to them and
But that's not on the table right now. That's not
no,
what
no,
we're-
no,
that's
we're
not
not,
what we're
yeah,
debating.
we can't even tell them if they put forward an application that says this is what they wanna do, then, planning staff was going forward based off what they asked for.
Yeah.
Planning
That's
staff
right.
doesn't
Yeah, go a little
usually
further. Yep,
get
there it
super
is.
involved
No,
in,
go up, Matt, you were there, yep. That's how they access it right now to do Ravens, right? Whoops, where'd it go?
Yeah, the water tank's on city property.
You had it, something happened.
So it's pretty simple. Planning Commission has written their recommendation. Sand Flats is advisory to the commission. We approve the draft letter saying we don't approve. And that's all we can do.
All right, well, wow.
And the basis would be the key words that Jennifer was saying, the character and the nature, the experience, character and experience.
Well, I didn't know any of this about Hell's Revenge. I didn't understand that.
We're all learning. At least I
well,
am.
and that's really sort of like, it doesn't,
It's
that would be
good.
very expensive, and the chances of it happening are pretty,
Well, that's
can't
right.
say,
But-
can't say what, but they could, if
They
we're granting
could.
them,
Same
yeah,
thing
could
could have
rezone
been
them
said
and-
about Cane Creek years ago. The chances
Exactly.
are we just want a campground.
so we, so we have to like imagine that, what the most intense use, and that to me is the most intense use, so. That's how it works.
It is the most intense, but if you also look at the nature of that lot, there's not much else you can do with it. There's very little next near 191 that you can develop.
And
The rest of it
it's
is
hard to
in
say how
San
much of
Francisco.
it
People can do all kinds of things. Have you seen like Italy and I mean, they put houses all the way up the cliffs. and
Well,
stuff.
we do have
Money.
some ridgeline development,
Restraint.
can't
So we have some restraints on
yeah, we
ridgeline
have
development.
some pretty
That's kind of my
strong
point.
restrictions on ridgeline development.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of it is unbuildable. But the parts that are buildable can be built very, very intensely. So.
The most,
Do not like that at all.
the intriguing thing is that the parcel down off of Main Street isn't asking for the rezone. That's what's intriguing.
Well,
I
that's
think
not-
that they already, I
that's
think they're already in the
not their
city.
Okay.
Yeah. The parcel in question isn't adjacent to 191.
I know.
Matt,
that's
can
what's
you
weird.
zoom out for a
Because that
minute?
might be-
I wanted to
That's
see,
because that's already in the
too.
city.
could go to, where tip over is. It's there in the map somewhere. Yeah.
That's it.
So, okay, now wait, don't go in too close. Come back out. Go back out, because we want to see how they come up.
It's the portion that, it's the bypass and the exit crosses back into that lot. Tip over itself is not, but just to the west of it is. And then down below, down here is a separate lot, separate parcel that's not in question at this time. And I'm not sure why it's not in question, because to me, that's the most buildable.
Well, coming in from Lions Back, coming in from the Hell's Revenge exit, I mean, that, I'm just trying to think, when you go up,
That's right at the very bottom
Yeah.
center.
yeah. I mean, that would be the best way to access it if you're not gonna go from
Right,
Ravens
but
Rim.
once you're in it, then they could develop that entire lot. They could build up their own roads. It's not Hell's Revenge.
Yeah, yeah.
They couldn't, that's what I was thinking, they can build their own road in there. I mean, the access would be Hill's Revenge, but then after that point, they build their own road instead of land.
Yeah, and that's where the Slick Rock Trail is.
Well, and this Hell's Revenge exit, that's Sitla. We never got an easement for that.
Oh,
I've tried for years to get an easement for that Sitla. I was just,
Really?
what?
Really? You want them to?
They said, we'll get to it, and they never got to it. Like, we don't have an easement for Sitla, for dinosaur tracks, from when you eat the fin, dinosaur tracks. But it's Class D road, so the county isn't too worried about it, is what I was told by the road department.
Yeah, because then, yeah.
I'm not very worried about it where it goes in from the fin and goes up to the dinosaur tracks. I don't think, through Lake Michigan and all that. It's just, on the exit, hardly anyone uses the exit.
I thought we
anymore.
perfected almost every easement in the county. That's why it's sort of,
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something happened.
I'll look into it, but I thought we'd done almost every single one up to the last 4 years.
Oh, well, maybe something happened and I wasn't included. It's possible.
And if I can take it.
Yeah, take a look. I know. All right, well, should I just read the letter and you guys decide what you wanna do?
Yeah.
Unless there's more questions. I guess some of the questions, wait, before I read the letter, some questions I had, which, Matt, could you go back to my letter? I'm sorry. Yeah, go to the, third page. I think it's the third page, third or fourth. Cause this is not part of the letter, obviously, it's just my drafts. Okay, keep going to the next page. Okay, so this one, the STEAM things. So, I guess you could argue this first one. There's a strong demand for amenities and recreational attractions accessible from the Sand Flats Recreation Area, including Hell's Revenge OHV route and the Slick Rock Bike Trail. It's like, well, what is that based on?
Well, and that is their narrative. So,
Right, this
yeah,
is their
they get
narrative.
to say,
Whatever they want.
yeah.
All right, well, that expresses intent more than I've seen anyplace else.
Yeah, they want, so, okay, so they got that. Then they say, granting the rezone will enhance local officing, support Grand County's economic growth, blah, blah. This will increase accessibility to Sand Flats Recreation Area. So I was like, well, how will accessibility to Sand Flats be
because
increased?
it'll improve that road, that's the traditional road that
Right.
comes up from Ravens Road. There you go.
Or the one from the Hell's Revenge exit.
From Lions Back, yeah.
And then we would have to figure out, well, you're entering Sand Flats Recreation Area and we do charge a fee.
Or do they, or is it Sitla to their boundary?
But then once you come in,
Yeah.
there's,
I don't think it's, I have to look.
so that was just a question, like what is their intent for accessibility? They're improving, because it says improving it
Yeah.
Increasing accessibility to the Sandflats Recreation Area without placing additional strain on the residential roads that traditionally are used for access.
You still have to get up there on residential roads
Same.
unless you come from Main Street.
Unless you come from Main Street. That's a good point. Right.
I think it's all about the Main Street road. Has been from day one.
Could be.
Okay, and then I have some more red as you scroll down. Questions, Matt.
You could tie them together once you get up.
And then it says this, we plan to implement measures, okay. The surrounding area of the Sandflats Recreation Area establishes land as an area for recreation. This rezone allows for additional recreation opportunities. So I'm like, well, what additional recreation opportunities are planned? I mean, what else can you do up there? And add a swimming
Ferris
pool?
wheel.
Dirt bike.
Your imagination.
Mini golf,
is totally limited.
Golf course, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just kind of like, well, what do they mean by that?
Drinking beer, a bar.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Falls off the top.
Oh, then I guess the zip line, I know the answer to that one. Zip line is a CUP.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, so the current business is operating via a C.
Okay, and you already answered that. We don't have to worry about losing our easement. And, support, okay, and you know, just to back up, the first I heard about this was the road department calling me and saying they're asking for a food truck on Hell's Revenge. I mean, that was what, like,
Like 3.5-inch lift, 37-inch tires.
yeah, that's what I heard about. I'm like, okay, well, we'll wait and see what's going on. You know, and now it's like
Mike, we need to talk after.
the lion's back next to the other side of San Francisco. Oh, wait, go back, Matt.
They
I got a
make
few
a
more there.
lot of money off a food truck.
A lot of trash and even more needed.
Oh, I guess it does. I was just kind of like, well, what kind of, where's it gonna be? Where are they planning on it? Is it for Ravens?
Firewood trailer.
It's a slippery slope.
Well, and until
But I guess it doesn't matter
until a
because
site plan is
we don't
turned
know.
over,
Yeah.
like the approval is just that. It's an approval for all of the uses. It's not an approval for a specific use until we have a site plan. So with the zone change, staff will always sort of lean on the land use code and say what could be here and how is that could the most impactful to the community? And is that appropriate? And that's the way it has to be sort of, and the way it should always be viewed, any rezone. I feel like I'm lecturing you guys.
Well,
I need
no,
to step
no,
out of
no.
lecture.
No, you're helping
Because
because I don't understand all of it. So to me, it's helpful.
I want you to-
Also, the fact that they could sell it, so
Yeah.
these nice people might be like, oh yeah, we just wanna do food truck at this, you know, but the thing is, once they sell it, and we've already rezoned it to resort commercial, the next people that buy it, like, you know, we have Greenspoon's development, same stuff going on, you know, the next people that buy it have totally different plans for it, and so that's where, yeah, as a county, as a planning and zoning, we have to think of the worst case scenario, I don't know if that's the rest of
Right,
it.
that's not the
Good
most
word.
Most intense use.
Yeah, the most
intense use.
Yeah, the most intensive, so what is allowed, so the other ones I was just looking at, what else is resort commercial in our land use code currently is the Fairfields out there with Canyon Lands by Night and, you know, and that's a lot going on out there. You know, and so if we had all that going on up on top of the rim, and I don't know all of the rim stuff, but you know, if you put a resort up there with this pool and, I mean, they'd have some massive infrastructure to put in, but if you have the money,
Right,
you
anything's
know, it's
possible.
not, we
enough
could say
money.
it's not possible because we can't fathom it. But developers can fathom it, you know, so.
Right.
And then the value of the lot changes significantly.
Right, the bottom line,
Yeah.
it's just, they're both getting old, it's just the idea that they've improved their property from rain.
Well, Ashley's not getting old. I mean, Ashley looks pretty young.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a family here and they
Yeah.
keep multi-generation, so maybe they,
Application.
right, maybe they wanna keep it in the family. We don't know. That's not for us. That doesn't affect
No,
us.
I think they've been wanting this for a long time. As far as the back information I've heard is that this has been a push through planning and zoning for lots of years. I mean, years before I thought about any of this kind of stuff. So, you know, that's the other piece of it.
Why
So
did it
first
never
I-
move?
What?
Why did it never move if it's
I have no
been
idea.
desired?
Yeah, I never.
Well, I don't
heard
know if
about
it's
it
because the
before.
map changed. I mean, that's my thing. I'm like, this map, because I'm like, what is this happening? They're like, what's on it?
Well,
Because we were working with them in
So-
2012 with the easements.
previously, the North Gateway Plan said that if you wanted to develop anything between that, I can't remember, ever remember the road was Fifth.
Yeah,
And the
I know, yes.
bridge, you had to annex to the city. And that was in our North Gateway Plan. It's still in our North Gateway Plan and the general plan.
And what year is the North Gateway Plan from? Do you know?
2008 or 2012.
So the future land use code for Spanish Valley doesn't affect that.
No, the North Gateway Plan is still there. We had plans, well, John Gunther had plans to update all of that, but it was the North Gateway Plan was a project that happened with the city. Back, I wanna say, my head's saying 2008, but something's telling me 2012, so it was within that 4-year plan. When the PUD for the courthouse walk PUD, with Kenny Ellis by Night and all of that was going in, they wanted to sort of improve the area coming in to Grand County. They were calling it broken windows. They called the area broken windows. And so anything that was, any application that came in automatically the city had the first right, sort of refusal for annexation, because their plan was a little more intensive than Grand County's.
Oh, yeah, because the city didn't go all the way to as far as it goes now.
Yeah.
The city was
Yeah.
a lot closer.
And they use that in their application, they use the North Gateway Plan, they referenced it several times, saying,
Yeah.
they're just trying to fit
Water
it.
and sewer issues as well.
The
Yes.
city would have to annex.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the city is the one who's providing services. There's no access for groundwater and sewer to provide water and sewer to them. So it has to be done through the city, which is amazing. Yeah, it supports annexation.
Okay, well, you want me to read the letter?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, you can put it up there and I'll just read from, it's in my hand, but anyway.
Instead of Matt.
We got you? He's coming. Okay, so yeah, just go to the beginning. Okay, remember, this is a draft. So let me know. Okay. Commission members. I don't know if it's supposed to say dear commission members, so I'm gonna check this. Make it nice.
Venerable.
Sandpots Recreation Area Stewardship Committee is by resolution an advisory body authorized by the commission to advise the Grand County Commission with facts, opinions, advice, and recommendations on issues related to the Sandpots Recreation Area. On Tuesday, April 29th, the Sandpots Recreation Area Stewardship Committee met concerning a general rezone application for range and grazing RG to resort commercial RC located on 1021 North Hills Revenge Trail, parcel number, blah, blah, blah. This 235-acre parcel is located, maybe I should say what it exactly is or whatever, approximately.
Yeah.
Is located adjacent to the Slick Rock Bike Trail and the Hills Revenge OHV Trail in the Sandpots Recreation Area. Members met to discuss the proposal's potential impact on the Sandpots visitor experience, operations, and natural resources. I don't know natural resources you want.
So in that paragraph, you say located adjacent, maybe a run-on sentence that says with easements.
It contains.
It can- yeah.
easements.
Yeah, I have that later, but I can put it up here.
Okay,
It's
then
not
it's
just
fine,
adjacent.
all right.
Yeah, I can
All
put
right.
that in, I have that, okay. Yeah, okay, so add easements here, that'd be good, get right into it. And then I just have background, the Sandpots Recreation Area mission is to ensure, okay, so I just have parts of the mission, I'll just read it, is to ensure that the outstanding natural features of the area are protected from adverse impacts of recreational use and provide sustainable public recreation opportunities consistent with the character and capability of the area. The Sandpots Recreation Area is managed in partnership with the BLM as its destination special recreation management area. Beneficial outcomes being targeted are improved skills for outdoor enjoyment and physical activity, greater sense of adventure, increased local tourism revenue, greater freedom from urban living, and greater family bonding. Sandpots Recreation Area is famous for the Slick Rock Bike Trail and the Hills Revenge Trail, both awarded National Recreation Trail status. Approximately 250,000 visitors recreate in Sandpots annually, and this visitation contributes some $17 million to the local economy each year. Now, I can see this stuff being used, whoever's favorite, but anyway. Grand County holds an easement with, I gotta check if it's the Steen family. It has
Yeah,
a different, they have different names there,
Was there a name on the
Lee and stuff,
application?
yeah. For the Hills Revenge Trail, and the BLM holds an easement for the Slick Rock Bike Trail where they travel through the private property. Don't say that.
I don't know, yeah, so holds an easement across the
Across.
parcel or along, within the parcel or something along
Holds
those lines, then you don't have to
an
say who it is, but just.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be.
What holds an easement?
through the
Through the
property,
parcel.
through the parcel.
Yeah. through the real
applying
property, through
parcel?
the parcel, through the,
Applicant.
So holds an easement through the parcel with the Steen family?
I would remove that.
Yeah, just
Because
don't.
then
say-
because the easement is granted on the land, not the family.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
My point.
That's why we have a
No.
legal person here. Yes.
That's
Grand County holds an easement through the parcel for the Hell's Revenge Trail, and the BLM holds an easement for the Slick Rock Bike Trail. Easement through the parcel for the Slick Rock Bike Trail?
That's fine. I think BLM holds an easement. That's fine.
Okay. Where they travel through private property?
That's fine.
Okay, so I had expand with length and dates. I don't know if we want that or not, but I mean, we could say since this,
Since that day.
yeah. And then we
Yeah,
could
and
say
if you
how
wanted- if you
long
did
they
it
are if we
that
want
way,
it.
I shouldn't be talking, actually. But, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking.
Well, I think you're telling me through the parcel's fine, because this is like
Yeah.
technical,
Okay, so,
technical
so
description.
what I was saying was holds a perfected easement, holds a perfected easement since, and then reference the date
Oh,
on the parcel. And BLM holds a perfected easement since for the Silver Bike Trail.
and we don't have to talk about the length of these easements?
No,
No.
yeah, you can add the date.
Since.
Since the date.
No, but I mean, I meant the
Physical
length,
length.
physical length,
Oh.
no, don't worry about it, okay. Okay. This rezone application for range and grazing to resort commercial is a request to develop these 235, I'll say,
I don't know that you have to put all that, you don't have to define, we don't have to define what the application is. We just have to say we don't approve.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
just trying it to the commission. So it's not a legal document either.
yeah, I know, I was like, I'm gonna
She had more time, like, it's not a legal document. If I was writing something as a commissioner, she would be telling me what to do. No, it's not a legal document. I think that whatever you put in there is great, but just remember, you're just writing.
Okay.
But it's always, I always feel like it's good to have as much background as possible, because
Yeah.
some commission members, well, some people know us more than other people, and just because
Yeah.
I'm learning all this stuff right now, so. Okay, yeah, this is a draft, so yes,
Right.
keep going with as I read,
Okay.
and tell me what you want. Okay,
Maybe it's,
yes, what?
I was thinking may develop. The request isn't specific.
Where
The
are we?
request is not to
The
develop, the
request is-
request is just to get a rezone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Okay.
all I was.
This rezone application for range and grazing to resort commercial is a,
Would allow, you could say would allow, but it's
okay,
not a request to.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that better, because we're focusing on the
What,
technical language of
Yeah.
this reason.
what could happen?
To the highest, okay, so I don't know that we want this description, I just picked this from one of the planning commissioners said. Acres to the highest extent allowed 5 houses per acre, but now you're saying 18.
Maybe
Just-
I just looked at commercial, it's probably 5.
Or you could just stop it loud.
I just,
Right.
For example, I mean, if there's more, that it's more allowed than just that.
Well, I mean, it could be, they're gonna pave the hot tubs and turn them into swimming pools. Right? I mean, it could be anything. So, I mean, no, seriously. So maybe just allowed and just stop there,
The highest extent allowed,
period.
period.
How
Eh,
do you know this zone change would violate the future land use?
Again, this is stuff I pulled from what one of the commissioners said,
okay.
so I'm just trying to collect what I felt was important from what I heard and read, and then you guys can decide
Okay,
yay or nay, or
well,
word I was missing that you feel should be in there. I just said, the future land use plan establishes, this is what he had said, clear, I would like to get a copy of it. See, I say need actual quote. The future land use plan establishes clear limits on where development should occur, preserving natural landscape that surrounds the community and serves as vital resources for residents and tourists and prevents sprawl. But I would like to go to the actual
Or not even in
Yeah.
that
Future land
political
use.
world of what
Right.
county commissioner said what, this is all interpretation, why can't we just do a letter that says that we agree with the planning commission
Sure,
to
sure.
an unfavorable.
I'm fine with it.
And I
And
think,
then we're not getting into the area
The
of whose
political
side we're
stuff.
in or what, yeah, or quoting someone.
right,
We're just saying we to vote on an unfavorable recommendation.
Well, where would you want to stop? Would you not want that paragraph, or would you want the first sentence in the paragraph without the 5 houses?
no, I would simply say that the development violates the mission that you defined at the beginning.
There you go,
I
because
don't-
you're writing a sample.
The management objectives.
Yeah,
Right. I don't
there
think
you
you have to
go.
talk about the future land use.
And we don't have to interpret, yeah.
So right after the word extent allowed,
Mhm.
put something about,
Your last sentence, wherever it went,
wait, Matt, go back up, or no, sorry, you're fine. You're in the right place, sorry.
going down.
Keep going down, I'm sorry, Matt.
Right after allowed, then you tie in your last sentence that said the development would violate.
One more.
I don't know where we
Mission.
went. Yeah, maybe we're on the next page.
Yep.
Mission stuff,
Yeah, keep going. Right,
Okay,
Almost there.
we're there.
the mission statement I mentioned above this, though.
You do, but now you're just
Zone change.
summarizing in your last paragraph of
Right.
why Sand Flats Stewardship Committee
Right,
is,
so what,
right, so after allowed, you jump down to your final sentence, it says the zone change would violate the, refer back to your mission.
okay.
the Sand Flats.
Okay.
And if you want to elaborate on allowed, to give an example, you could. To be more specific about how it violates, but I think development, simply commercial development would violate the mission.
Well, we remember what Jennifer was saying about the character and the experience.
I mean, that's the problem, right? Because it's private property, so BLM and the county do not make prescriptions for that. It's just adjacent to what it is that we're managing for.
So when you say adjacent, you're talking about literally
Yeah,
a foot
right.
adjacent to the trails,
But we don't
the
have any
easements that we have.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want me to say? Tie back to what we're talking about, the mission statement, where, for the mission statement, I just
I
have,
wouldn't call it a mission statement if you're talking about management.
What
Just
you could
no.
add is, you say the zone change
Right.
would change the character and experience,
Of the Sand Flats Recreation Areas Management.
right?
They're using
Which would be.
some of that as it'll aid recreation of they stated several times,
Say which would be
it'll
a
improve
violation of the
recreation
sand flat.
quality and
violations are right
opportunity.
word, but anyway.
And we're just saying we
I
don't
get
think it would.
Another word for that.
Yeah.
So that's, we're voting, we're saying we don't think it would improve. They cited several times it would improve recreation access, and we're saying we don't think it would.
Improve the access,
know what-
just no quality of the experience.
Quality of the
Yeah.
experience.
The zone change would change the
Quality of
character and the
unique.
experience.
Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be the meat of it, how much we get it right.
See, I think that's better than trying to quote a county commissioner's
Yeah.
view, because there's
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Well, I wasn't gonna really quote their view, I was gonna quote the future land use plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If
I
the
misunderstood.
future land use plan actually says that there are clear limits on where development should occur, preserving natural landscapes that surround a community and serve as vital resources for residents and tourists and prevent sprawl. I mean, if there is actually, that was what the gentleman said, but he said this is from the new land use code. So I was like, well, if we can just use a sentence in the future land use plan.
Yeah.
That, that if it actually says that, I mean, that might be a good thing to have in there. And then you could even say how this would affect our mission at Sand Flats too. But So I don't know, but I don't know, where do I look that up? He was like very specific. I wrote it down, the page number and everything, but I didn't go.
So the future land use plan is,
He's like, page 27.
Is it already passed?
Yeah, that's what he said, page 27
Of the.
Of the plan.
Or those, or the.
of the future land use plan.
I know, but that's what I'm learning now is there's multiple ones. See the future, page 27 on the Spanish Valley future.
Yeah, so you're gonna,
Oh,
Which is
You
the
know.
one that.
which is the
well,
problem.
we don't have to have it. I'm
Right.
just saying that it kind of fit, preserve natural landscape and it's serving
Yeah.
vital, as a vital resource for residents and tourists and prevent sprawl. And I mean, it just seemed to fit. So if I could take a part out
Yeah,
of
it's
the
right
future here.
here. I mean, but it's super confusing because that's what I'm learning too. Is like, I would have thought when I saw this go into effect in December, they've been working on it, but it was the future land use map for the county. So that's why, when you see this, and so, I have it pulled up right here. That's what that map was from. And that's what they're talking about. Yeah, there says, strict zoning regulations can be employed to prevent sprawl and safeguard the community's unique environment. And that's on this future land use.
And that's page 27?
Yeah, that's page 27. But yeah, when you go up to the top of it, it does say future land use, Grand County updated the land use chapter for Spanish Valley.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was, and I was at many of those meetings, it was specific to Spanish Valley. The North Gateway was not contemplated in this. I mean, yes.
so I shouldn't use a quote from it then?
Well,
Yeah, I'm thinking no.
I just think
I wouldn't.
it's, so no, you're kind of preaching to the choir if you're trying to convince someone of how they're gonna vote. We're just saying our opinion of the stewardship. We're not trying to sway anyone. We're just
Oh,
trying to say
we are trying to sway them.
I know.
We are trying to
You
sway
do
them.
have
This
a
could be
role to
devastating.
advise the
Yeah.
commission,
Yeah.
particularly how it affects your committee.
Okay.
And if you need to write 15 pages to convey that, then write it. I mean,
Okay.
this is what you guys were empowered to do by the commission, so do
I
it.
mean, this has the potential to have absolutely devastating impact on the Slip Rock Trail.
No,
And I
Big
feel
time.
like that's what something that you're right.
And yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that those words are important, using those words are important.
Right, they use words that
Economic
said it will
impact as
improve
well as
recreation. You should say you
Social,
feel
environmental,
that it has potential to
quality of the experience.
detrimentally.
Devastate.
Yeah, so that's an opinion that we're.
And the other thing is, I don't know what how the word control, but we lose control of those trails. We no longer control what happens on those trails.
It will make management issues increase and be more challenging, I think is what you're saying. But if I was a resort developer, I could argue the exact opposite
Yeah,
point
right.
and say that I'd be providing this service to my
Yeah.
clients adjacent, da da da.
Yeah.
Right,
And that's what they're.
but we're not developers in this, we're the
I know.
Sunset Committee, so
right.
that's our position is.
You guys could always write the letter and then send it amongst each other.
That's what we're
to
gonna do.
finish it out,
And,
yeah.
and red
Yeah.
line.
Because it doesn't have to be in by today, if it's just a letter to the commission.
Well, actually, she's
No.
saying we shouldn't,
It doesn't even,
Doesn't have to go to our meetings, it just needs to go to, it's an email to basically all of the commissioners, right? Just an email.
no, so this one would be as part of the public hearing process. So the
Okay.
public hearing opens,
after May 6th,
yeah,
right?
the night of the meeting. So there's a section where you can submit the letter. Because you guys are an advisory board though, you could submit it in a different way. You could submit it right away. Because, your role in the county is to advise the commission. So if you wanted to
I could even,
send a letter to them directly, if you wanted to upload it into the comments, however you guys want to do
You can
that.
go and present it.
I was gonna say,
You
can
can
I
actually do it at
I
the
could-
public
You
hearing.
can do it in all of the above. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people that do it in all of the above. They email us, they come, they.
Yeah.
I mean, I could speak, or as the chair of the stewardship, well, I could speak as I don't know, wait, there's like department head reports, but this isn't a report.
Yeah, this would be, so The next commission meeting, the public hearing will open, I will present, and then the public hearing opens and anyone from the public is welcome to speak at that point. You could speak at that time, you could send a letter, you could send the letter before, you can do any of those
I could
things.
read the letter.
You could read the letter at the.
I'm just asking, all my possibilities.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
Just so I understand.
But yeah, and then
email each commissioner, that'd be great.
Yeah, or, and then there's also a specific link within the Grand County website for public comments that you click on and then you send your comments in. And that's the way that they get uploaded into the record, so that if there's litigation, if it doesn't go through that portal, that's the correct and proper way for public comments to always be submitted to the commission, is through the portal, through the county website. And that's one of, that's the way that they are will be most accurately represented in the record.
And I think the important thing is to tie it back to our mission, because you think, who are our customers, right? Our customers are the users of the Sand Flats recreational area. I think, well, how can we serve our customers best? Is it better to serve them by having a lemonade stand, on the Slick Rock Trail, or is it
Well,
better?
I might think that.
Some may,
Yeah.
some may. It's our job to assess how to best serve our customers. And it's my opinion that they are best served by giving them a recreational experience
But-
that is representative of being away from town,
Lacking in commercialization of the public lands.
Yeah, and I think that's what our mission statement says.
Right.
And if we thought otherwise, we should say, well, let's rezone it and develop it so people can come and have a party in a grand time. But I don't think that's who we are representing.
Yeah, our mission isn't to represent, it's as a preservation of a recreation area.
Management of.
Management.
And I think if you look back to pre-94 with the initial Grand County's application to the AmeriCorps project and everything that's come since, it's been all about maintaining those natural resources and the quality of the experience for folks within that special recreation management area. With the lack of commercialization of a physical sort, because of course we do have dozens and dozens of permitted activities going on up there which are commercial in nature. But we don't have food trucks and Patagonia worn wear and other things.
Right, and those are all consistent with the current zoning.
Right, food would not be.
But we probably shouldn't have fire vending.
We're not, we looked into that, we could, I mean, we could,
I
but we
recommend,
looked into it, it wasn't really.
I recommend drafting the letter, and I recommend using the county portal to get it on there, not waiting for a public hearing where things would come up or,
Getting it in before the public
Yeah,
hearing,
yeah.
so that
so I
it's-
recommend at least entering it onto the county
Okay,
website, and anything else after that is great. But sometimes I feel like we do these letters and then it doesn't really go, and we're waiting, and then it's like in front of the commission or something, but decisions have already been made in people's minds, so anyway.
with our stuff?
No, with just politics.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't feel like that with Sand Flats, we always get our stuff in on time, but
I don't know.
Okay, that's just I'm just.
I think that
was
I
gonna
think
vote
that,
to recommend.
yeah, and then also,
moving on
if you
there.
wanna go and speak as a person, personally, at the public hearing, that's something that you have to, you can write the letter as a stewardship committee, and then you also can go and speak as individuals, at any point in time.
okay.
And then the commission votes on it on the next meeting after that.
So
that
the public
May.
hearing will open and then it'll close the Wednesday before the next meeting, the Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
The only thing I wondered was at this May 6th, I think it is, meeting, whatever it is. Is the Steen family gonna maybe do another presentation and try to answer some of the questions that were brought up by the planning commission? I mean, that's what I would do if I was the landowner, if I had the opportunity to do
Yeah,
that.
I can't speak to what they will or will not do, but they would be invited to be there, yes.
So there could be, I don't know, if there's like more information that they would share that might change some aspect of our letter. That's the only
I
reason
can't
why I was
imagine that we
thinking.
would have a different opinion on
Okay.
any of this. Now, it might change someone else, some relevant of that, but that's not our role of being a planning commission or a county commission.
No, but
We're just advising at the same
so that's why I was thinking we could turn it in as part of the public hearing time, but
Yeah.
I mean, is there an advantage to us getting it in before the public hearing, like for the commission to see beforehand? I mean, or does it matter?
What would that do?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking,
I
because
think it gives each person a background and a feeling of our position, just like the
And
application.
then it gets done, I think Molly's point was just to make sure that it gets in and not miss
Oh, yeah.
the timeframe, sometimes it's better to do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
And
okay.
if your opinion's not gonna change.
and you can even change it then.
Well,
Well, you can't
as-
change it
well,
once you turn it in.
You can have that letter, you can do a new letter.
As an
Oh,
advisory,
well,
as
yeah.
an advisory body,
Yeah.
you're not the public,
Right,
so you don't have to wait for the public process to begin.
Yeah.
You're an advisory body to them, so you advising them can happen at any moment because that's what you're empowered to do. So if you need to send a letter to something that's going to be on an agenda, you can do it whenever.
yeah, that's all I was suggesting.
Right, I was just worried that we sent a letter and then we listened to the public hearing and there's like something else that comes up
And
and we're like,
then
oh,
write it
we've
in.
already turned in the letter.
That's okay, right?
And then you can,
I
yeah, you
think-
can amend your letter.
I think as long as the zoning would allow development to the maximum extent,
Yeah.
then our position's not going to change.
True.
We're just giving,
Okay, all right.
they're going to work on the edge of improving recreational opportunities. We're just saying we advise that it be detrimental to recreational activities.
As it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting a fried brain here for writing this one paragraph, but I will draft it up, all the things you said, and then I'm gonna send it to you guys for red line, if that's all right. But you're okay with the first part, it's just the one.
Yeah. And each
There.
individual, and I've said this for years, each individual can do a letter and make a statement as an individual in life. It's, but,
True, true.
yeah.
And just be mindful of OPMA when on a group email, please.
So you're telling, what did you tell me to do
Open
about
Public Meeting
Yeah.
Act.
that I should make each email separate? Is that what you told me to fit?
Everyone should reply individually instead of replying all.
Okay. Okay, so everyone's applying individually to me.
So if you send an email out for like advice on the letter, have everyone, or just hit reply instead of reply all, so that you're not caught in OPMA violations. So you don't have to publish the entire email chain to make sure that we're maintaining the standards of OPMA.
So when they write back with their
Just hit
opinion.
reply instead of reply all.
Which has been a huge problem anyway in all of our meetings.
It's a problem for
Invite,
all
everyone
advisors.
hits reply all, and then you lose the whole chain and,
Well, but we could get together and everybody take one little part of it and
Or yeah, you
set it in.
Yeah, or you could just meet again, but if you wanted to just do it by email, just make sure that you're mindful of OPMA violations. Or you could publish the email chain, that would be the other option.
Well,
If
they
you're all
think
gonna
I
reply
lied.
to it, just turn it in, publish it.
it'd be easiest just if people just reply and then reply all. Or mention it in the email.
Sorry to get nerdy.
No, I need that, because actually, we have never written anything via email. We've always just like, I've had it, and then we voted on it, and then then I sent you the final version.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't make any changes after that. All right, well, do we want to, okay, how did I write this thing? General business action item. Does someone wanna, what did I say? SFRA Stewardship Committee vote on a letter to Grand County Commission concerning rezoning. So does someone want to, take this up for a vote?
You've been saying it all day long, so go ahead.
Well, I was specifically asking to vote that if you approve of sending the letter in on the county website, and then Andrea can decide to do whatever comes after that. I was just going for that idea. But yeah, you word it for the approving the letter.
Sure.
This is what I
We don't have a
had,
letter.
but you can change it slightly.
So we're gonna be voting to send a letter
Mhm.
that will be developed.
Well, the letter's pretty,
Well, I can know,
As
let me just say,
yeah, go ahead, do a
So-
draft in the air.
so I'd like to make a motion that we, Sand Flats Committee, send a letter to the commission in opposition of the rezoning based on the fact that it is in conflict with our mission.
Very good.
I second.
I don't know, I have to repeat it. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna repeat it right. Shoot, can you say it again?
Yes, that the motion is that we send a letter to the Grant County Commission in opposition to the rezoning because it is in conflict with Sand Flat Recreation Area Committee mission to preserve a,
You can just say this.
okay, commission period.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, so Mark has made a motion that Sand Flats Committee send a letter to the Grand County Commission in opposition to the rezoning because it is in conflict with Sand Flats mission. And Molly
I
seconds
second.
it, and
Is it the Sand Flats Stewardship Committee's mission?
yeah, and also we didn't say what the rezoning was, as we said here.
Right, so we should,
The Ravens.
I think it's fine. We're just
It's
voting
fine.
to do the letter.
Okay, so go ahead, I'll
that's good.
vote in favor or vote. Okay, so 3. Now, do you,
I don't think I'm a voting member. I think I'm just a liaison. What do you, I got some
Actually-
bylaws for this.
actually you are.
Oh, I am voting member?
Yeah, you are, I'm sorry.
I'm a non-voter.
Yeah, she's a non-voting
Yeah, I'm
member,
gonna
I'm a
recuse.
non-voting member. You're gonna recuse, okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna recuse. Who votes?
Okay.
But I am a voting member in here, because I know I'm so
Yeah.
confused.
yeah,
And all
I'm
the different
sorry.
boards I want in my
So-
vote, and I didn't see bylaws for this that said.
Oh, do you want me to send you those?
No, she read them. She can't see where it talks about the liaison. We have this problem on all
All the boards you're on too. Yeah, I had the same problem. I was like, am I voting or
I was
not
like, where
voting?
does it say?
We always had, Evan is a
Evan always
voting,
voted no.
yeah, I'm always voting.
Yeah,
Which
like
is a little
the
strange because the county liaison votes, but the BLM liaison doesn't vote.
Yeah, that's right.
And the
But
chair
then the
doesn't
county
vote.
ultimately has the ultimate say at the end of like,
Right,
at the end anyways, like on the
Yeah.
Economic Opportunity Advisory Board, I'm just a liaison and I don't vote.
you don't vote, but then you vote when it goes
Yeah, I
to the
vote when it
commission.
goes to the commission.
I know, it is kind of strange.
But I vote on like the Four Corners Mental Health Board and the other boards, but those aren't like, those never are gonna come to the commission for stuff to vote on. So I'm wondering if maybe I would not vote on this,
Right, because
I
it's
would
gonna come to the
because
commission.
it would come to the commission, because you're one of our actual like advisory boards. Versus the other boards I'm on aren't advisory boards, you know, like,
That's a good point.
so my advisory boards,
I think
I'm,
it would depend on the topic.
Yes,
So if
I would
it's
think so.
something that you're ultimately going to vote on, you would have to recuse yourself on this vote.
Yeah.
But if it was something outside of a legislative decision that you guys were going to be making, you would vote because you would be the reason, like you would be the commission's voice
yeah.
on this sort of action that they would be taking into CFO.
For example, when we're doing a fee change,
Yes.
Yep.
she would vote here.
No, because she would ultimately decide that, so that would be,
Yeah,
that's a
she would.
legislative decision.
Okay. So
But like, I don't know what you guys do, so I would think if like you guys had to create something for the public and you were voting on whether to approve it, then it would be appropriate for her to vote on
Makes
that.
sense.
But if it, voting twice on something that, especially on something that's advising herself, that's just convoluted and weird.
Yeah, okay.
Unless
Okay.
you wanted to
Again,
vote
super
no,
nerdy. Sorry,
so
I
we
No,
didn't know.
I was gonna say the
I
same,
know
same
how-
thing. I had the same thought, I just wasn't articulating it, so.
I could be gone that day. I mean, I remember these all recorded, I'm just kidding. I'll be there.
Okay, All right, well, should we adjourn?
We shall.
I motion we adjourn the meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all right, let's
Okay.
adjourn, Matt.
Matt, you away?